Our first video post the direct one, and the information we get is stuff that was mainly covered in the direct. Just a bit of more expensive knowledge on it, but nonetheless, let's cover it. This is NSBD! Madeline said she was glad that the beam sword color was back to its melee version, even though I preferred Melee's more cyber-looking version. However, what we didn't notice is that it is not back to its melee version. Sakurai states here that the beam sword is instead gradiated colors, something new for the Smash series. I like this because, as many have said already, it makes it look less like a lightsaber ripoff and more of its own thing. In addition, this continues the theme of items being updated to be more detailed. Even though I doubt many will notice this change, it is still nice of Nintendo to go the extra mile to make this game feel different than Brawl instead of copying and pasting the same thing. Also, I'm not sure if this was in previous installments or not, but at the tip of the beam sword, you can notice there being an edge and a tip, something that makes it look more like a sword. I really have no idea if this has been in previous games. I never paid attention to this before. The fire bar is an item that we already knew from the direct and how it's going to work, interestingly. Most items that involve a certain amount of ammo included either having to be charged up or a great amount. The fire bar seems to be neither of these. It has a small amount of ammo, only 5 uses, and it becomes shorter over time. However, what makes it interesting is due to the small amount of usage, I think it will be incredibly powerful, perhaps even powerful as the hammer. This will make up for its greatly limited usage. Balloon Fighter is a stage we already knew about, and the fact that you can go from the left side to the right side was nothing new if you were paying attention to the direct. However, since we didn't really talk about this much in the direct video, I'll express my thoughts here on this gimmick. I am scared this stage will be incredibly tough to land KOs, with the left side and the right side not knocking you out of the arena. The only way you will be able to KO opponents is to send them blasting off into the sky, or meteor smash them into the water. However, the fish in the water could work like how it did in the Ice Climber stage in Brawl, where it auto KOs anyone near it upon spawning. This will hopefully speed up matches, and not make them dragged out. However, I really dislike stages that involve overpowered stage hazards, so if they did this instead of making the side KOs, it would be horrible. While if you merely go on one side, you'll appear on the other. Perhaps if you send an opponent flying into a side, they will be KO'd. It's hard to imagine them popping up on the other side, still flying in the air. I'm not sure how this will work though, programming wise, as I have no idea how video game development works. However, if this idea is impossible, what could happen is if you send an opponent flying into one side, they will appear in the other, but since you knock them so far, they'll land in the lake and be KO'd anyways, perhaps even being eaten by the fish if they're still flying. There are so many shenanigans that could occur with this stage's unique gimmick. This picture shows off Charizard in the Smash Run gnawing on a Waddle Dee. However, how do you go about doing this? The likelihood is this is Charizard's grab, which isn't surprising as there have been many other characters that have grabs that involve their mouths. With one being Yoshi, who has now received a rainbow pattern with his egg throw. While this may appear to be bright and cheery, it is no big deal since it kind of suits Yoshi's character with it being all cute and happy. Not only that, but it makes the eggs more distinct to track for both the player and the opponents. This will be especially useful in the 3DS version, where the models are much smaller, so the developers felt the need to include outlines for the characters. However, since attacks do not have outlines, this rainbow will help you dodge eggs much easier, as you will be able to see them better. It is also a neat visual touch, making it all the more fun to use. Samus's pose when she uses her stun gun seems kind of awkward though. Will she always go into that pose when she shoots? Animations during attacks is something that is hard to notice because oftentimes when you attack opponents, you focus more on them than yourself. And with how quick Samus's stun gun goes, I highly doubt anyone will see it. But again, I do like the extra mile aspect. And at least we get the confirmation that the Paralyzer is indeed returning. Our last picture shows off Mega Man's Final Smash. Again, something we've already learned about from the Direct. However, we do get a closer look at the other Mega Man forms included in the Final Smash, for those who did not get a chance to fully see them in the Direct. While this doesn't really appeal to me since I have never played a Mega Man game, except for Mega Man 9 barely, others will be incredibly happy that they are not just ignoring the various other versions of Mega Man in favor of the popular one. They do not get any representation, but at least they get acknowledgement. I often dislike when series ignores unpopular aspects and pretend they never happened, unless it's really bad, like Dragon Ball GT. Thank you all for watching this week's episode of NSBD. A little bit shorter from the last episode. Anyways, stay tuned and subscribe for more future coverage on the miiverse pictures that Sakurai posts each day. Thanks, and see you next week.